The NBA trade deadline has come and gone, and a number of players that may have started the season on a roster now find themselves on the open market as buyout season is upon us. With those players joining the ranks of the veterans who have been looking for a new job throughout the 2018-19 campaign, the free agent market is as loaded as it has been all year long, which will provide teams with some intriguing options should they feel they want to try and improve upon the talent on their roster ahead of the playoff push. As you can see from the following list, there are plenty of former All-Stars and NBA champions available and looking for employment as we prepare to turn our attention to the month of March and the sprint to the finish line of the 2018-19 regular season schedule. Which available free agents do you think would be able to make the biggest impact on a contender? Share your thoughts on the matter in the comments section below after making your way through the article. Obviously, the veteran forward makes the list despite the fact that he has barely seen the floor during the 2018-19 campaign after things went south in a hurry during his brief tenure with the Houston Rockets. Anthony has been linked to the Lakers, but they have yet to make any sort of move in terms of securing an agreement to bring him on for the stretch run. Young had a brief stint with the Denver Nuggets earlier this season while their backcourt was ravaged with injuries, but he found himself back in the open market once the Nuggets got healthy again, and, at this point, he is still looking for another team to latch on with for the playoff push. If a team is in need of three-point shooting, and can handle taking on a personality like Young, he may get a look. Marcin Gortat was released by the Clippers on deadline day, likely to create room for the addition of Ivica Zubac on both the roster and the rotation. He is similar to Jordan in that his days as a high-level starting center are over, but he is still a helpful piece to have on just about any team. Another player who was moved at the deadline then bought out by their new team, Monroe, has not been as productive over the course of the last few seasons as he was at the beginning of his career, but he could still provide a contender with another big body who is capable of giving minutes off of the bench if the need arises for a franchise over the course of the coming weeks. Teodosic came to the NBA with plenty of buzz after his standout performance at the Olympic Games and his history of success playing overseas. Unfortunately, things did not work out for him in Los Angeles, and he is now on the open market for any team to snatch up if they feel they need another point guard on their roster for the playoff push. McLemore entered the NBA with plenty of hype surrounding his game, but, for one reason or another, he has yet to fully tap into that potential at the professional level, which found him ultimately being waived shortly after the deadline. At worst, the former Kansas Jayhawks standout can offer a team some offensive production off of the bench. Joe Johnson closed the 2017-18 campaign as a member of the Houston Rockets after starting the season on the roster of the Utah Jazz. While Johnson did not make much of an impact for the Rockets during their run to the Western Conference Finals, he can still provide teams with a scoring punch off of the bench, which could ultimately be an attractive option for contenders without much cap space at their disposal. However, after being on the open market for months without any significant offers, it seems like there is only one realistic landing spot for him if he continues his NBA career. Zach Randolph probably isn't helping a playoff team at this stage, but he was traded on Thursday and hasn't played all season due more to the team he was on than any individual factor. Someone will sign him because he can still score some points off of the bench and he's a big name, but don't expect much out of Randolph at this stage beyond a good veteran presence. While Terry has, apparently, already committed to playing in the Big 3 League next summer, the NBA veteran is still available as a free agent and could provide depth in the backcourt as well as veteran leadership from a former champion in the locker room for contenders or teams with young players who need to learn how to play the game the right way. This past season, Terry made 51 appearances for the Milwaukee Bucks and averaged 3.3 points and 1.2 assists in 16.0 minutes per game. Injuries cost Wright the opportunity to contribute to the Houston Rockets' run through the 2018 NBA playoffs this past season, but that shouldn't keep him from finding a place to play this coming season, as when he is healthy he has shown the ability to be a contributor on both ends of the floor. Considering how efficient he has proven to be on the offensive end over the years, playoff contenders should be keeping tabs on the big man as free agency winds down. While there is no question that Jameer Nelson's best days are behind them, he is still more than capable of providing a team with a serviceable backup point guard for a contender or a young team looking for some veteran leadership to help mold their backcourt of the future. Given where Nelson is at this point in his career, he will likely be available for the veterans minimum, which will make him an intriguing option for teams as the season moves on if injuries force franchises to look for replacement ball handlers. While he only made 31 appearances during the 2017-18 campaign after splitting time with the New York Knicks and the Washington Wizards, Sessions is still only 32 years old and should still have some quality basketball left ahead of him if there are any teams still desperate for a veteran ball handler in the backcourt. Much like Nelson and Jack, Sessions could likely be head for the veterans minimum and would make for a low-risk option for any team still in search of another floor general before training camp opens. 247th Sports Prediction, Washington Wizards.